amazing result for Como for Juventus. Meanwhile, it's been a really poor stretch for them, winless in their last 6 matches, but you can see 5 of those have been draws, so difficult to read in and weigh up where exactly they're at, but no doubt today's result is really disappointing. Igor Tudor, let's talk about him, Grella, because he's been at the top of the headlines once again. Is he under pressure? Could you see him losing his job after today's result?
For sure, but if you were to point at Tudor and say, oh, he's the problem, we got to get rid of him, then you're crazy. Obviously, there's been 3 managers in a short span of time, and it's not worked out. I think they've had really poor transfer windows. They brought in some really bad players. Koopmeiners, how is he still making it to the pitch? I don't know. I understand they're trying to save the investment, right? It's a business decision because they don't want to lose 60 million on the player, but he really kills the team. They play with a man down when they play with him, so it's been difficult. But for sure, Tudor is going to be under pressure. Who can they bring in? There's little rumors about different guys, but
Palladino being one of them?
Palladino being one of them, which is interesting. I like Palladino. He's had some time in Juventus as well, so he's a guy that understands the club. Tudor switches from the back 5 that he always uses today to a back 4, so it just shows that he's not sure and he's had to make changes. His personnel has changed. His center forward has changed every single game. The way I think they look at who they're going to play that day and they go, all right, we'll just play how they play. Right, Dortmund 4-4, then they can't score a goal against Como. They play their opponent like, it's like, oh, is this going to be a crazy game today? We could play that way. Or are we going to control? Is this going to be a possession-based game? We could play that way. But they never stamp their sort of way of playing on the game. And that's been a big downfall for Tudor and this team.
We don't know what Juventus are. That's just the reality. We don't know what Juventus are. Tudor, for me, doesn't know what his best team is. And I think I'm surprised with the amount of changes in different players that you come in and have seen the personnel. One thing that I saw seeing them live over there in Italy was, for me, is there's an over-reliance on Yildiz. It's become the Yildiz team, but then for me, other players are not stepping up. There's too many times when you can see, in experience as a player, when you've been in these type of situations, yes, you've got a special player. Yildiz is a special player for Juventus, but other players need to step up. They need to help him and make it easier for him. But when you watch Juventus play with your eyes, they give Yildiz the ball and it's like, make something happen. It doesn't always work like that. The game has moved on too much now where you need other players to help him and make it easy for him. So Openda come on, play a game. For me, he's coming to feet. That's not the strength of Openda. He needs to run in behind. He needs to stretch the pitch. He needs to be a willing runner. Play on the line of the defender, make things happen, and Yildiz will find you those passes. Conceição's come in now and looks a bit of a different of a game changer. For me, Jonathan David, it hasn't worked out for him at the moment. Finding it tough. And then you've got David and you've got Vlahovic, who for me still is never going to be the Vlahovic that you saw at Fiorentina. It's not going to happen for him at Juventus. Tudor doesn't know his strongest side. I don't see a real identity in this Juventus team. And you really never know what you're going to get with them. And for me, for where Juventus need to be, it's not good enough.
I think for Koopmeiners, right, just to go back to him, and it's terrible to single out a player, right?
Well, you just did.
And well, we're gonna do it right now, right? So he goes for 60 million. He was tremendous at Atalanta. He won the Europa League there with them, obviously beating Liverpool, beating Leverkusen. That was not beatable. Fantastic player. In football, there's a famous quote that says, you're only as good as your last game, right? It doesn't matter whether you're struggling because mentally, whether you're struggling because he can't adapt, whether the Juventus shirt is too heavy for him, whether he's not physically fit, right? They've made every excuse now at this point under the sun. They were taking him out of games and saying, oh, well, he had a fever today. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're not playing well in the last month, the last 2 months, your last game, as the quote says, you have to be out of the team. At this level, against a very good Como side, by the way.
But have they got the depth to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. At the end of the day, there's so many good youngsters that they've sold on. Put a youngster in the game.
I mean, you've got Weston McKennie still on the bench. You've got Weston McKennie. You've got João Mario still there as well. You've got other players that you could play, and
you can't play with a man. They play with him. They play with a man down.
You had a good header in the game.
People tell me, oh yeah, but last year was last year though. For a year now, he's been terrible. So he has to either earn his way back into the team, or they have to part ways and they have to find a solution to get rid of him. But to continue to force him to put him into the starting lineup, and your team plays with a man down, I think it's terrible.
Does that make you think that it's not necessarily all on Igor Tudor? Because at the beginning of the season, we were praising him, saying, you know, he's done a good job to say that he was not the first choice for Juventus to keep as a manager.
But what does he give you, though?
New manager bounce. I think that always happens. Whenever a manager gets sacked or a new manager comes in, he makes the players feel good. The players who didn't think they had a chance now feel, OK, I've got a chance now. And then once the message starts to get a bit boring and stale, this is what happens. You're going to go back to revert to that situation. Some managers can continue that elevation and make it better. But Grella makes a great point. When does Koopmeiners put in a performance for Juventus, you could say this was a 10 out of 10 performance?
Never.
Or even an 8 out of 10 performance where, like, you can see him being one of the key players for that team. He hasn't done it. And for me, I just don't see a level of consistency from the entirety of the team. Yildiz is special, said it before, but other players need to step up. I mean, even for application purposes in today's game, you look at Paz's goal. I'm a big fan of Kefren Turam. If Kefren Turam had made a little bit more of an effort to get back in there, he could have blocked Yildiz from chopping into, turning inside and getting that second
Paz,
goal.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paz from getting that second goal.
And this season, last year, Tudor takes over, right? He's not really the guy. He says he drives over from Croatia, wherever he was. He drives over to Italy. Great story. Old Juventus center back, right?
Sign the contract immediately.
We give him the benefit of the doubt, and we say, okay, we don't know what this team is. He's picking up a team from Thiago Motta that made a disaster over there, obviously. We gave him the benefit of the doubt and said, well, look, we don't know. He's basically caretaker at this point. Then they try to get another manager. But then he had a preseason with the team. Right? He was able to bring in a few guys. He was able to try to put Vlahovic back into the team. Right now, if you ask me through the first half of the season, what's Juventus' style? We don't know. How do they defend? We don't know. What's their best formation? We don't know. Who's their midfield three? We don't know.
There's not
for me,
enough consistency.
Although Tudor is not the main problem, that's a problem if you're a manager, if you don't know at the end of the day how you play. Because even if you lose all your games or you don't get the results that you need, you have to know, okay, but this is who we are, though. This is how we play. This is what we do. And I don't think we have that with Juventus. 4-4, 0-0, 1-1. Like, it's just too crazy. Games that go back and forth, then games that are super stale, that don't move at all. They pass the ball side to side. So you don't know what you're going to get when you watch Juventus play.
Just very quickly, before we give some credit to Como, if you were a Juventus fan, would you want a change? Would you want to see somebody like Palladino come in, or would you give Igor Tudor more time?
I personally would give Igor Tudor more time, but I think now Igor Tudor needs to understand he's under pressure and needs to get a bit more element of consistency. Start putting a consistent team out there and let's start to see a real identity of this Juventus side. There's too much chopping and changing, which is part of the problem of why we don't know what's what. But I would still give him a little bit more time. I will make that change right away.
Would you?
It's hard. It's terrible, to say, but I think that you're going to just see yo-yo games and yo-yo results from now to the end of the season with the Juventus side. And I'm not sure that someone like Palladino or someone else can actually change that, because, like I said, I think the problem always, when you see a big club like this struggling, like the Man Uniteds of the world, the problem is always north of the manager on the board and the player signings, and it's way up there. And it's, by the way, it's decisions they've made 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Don't tell me you're going to mention
that hurt you. No, well, he was only a couple of years ago.
We're waiting for it.
I thought we were going to make it through.
It's not like bing, bang, boom, and you get a brand new team and a brand new system. Like, it's like they've made so many bad signings, so many bad decisions over. I mean, you could make the argument that Ronaldo was a terrible signing for them as well, like back in the day, because it's out of character for a club like Juventus to sign that caliber of a player, right? But anyway, decisions that you make in the past, they're going to affect the future moving forward. So it's, unfortunately for Juventus, for the Man Uniteds, for the big clubs, it's not like, oh, we just switched the coach and everything's going to be fine. It's
deeper.
It's a big entanglement that they have to get right there.
Como, on the other hand, obviously, we've seen some really bright moments for them this season. Then we've seen, some dips, and you can kind of expect that with a young, growing team. And Cesc Fabregas has them playing such good football, Nigel. Nico Paz seems to always be at the top of that when they're at the best. Yeah,
Nico Paz is a very special talent, really talented individual player. How long can they keep him? That's the rumour already. Rumours are swirling that, will he be at Como for the long-term future? And everything that he does, he affects the game of football. When he plays in that number 10 role, he affects the game. That's what you want. When you're number 10, you've got to affect the game. Either you're scoring or creating, and he is doing that.
His numbers today against Juventus are impressive, but they have been all season. He's been directly involved in the most goals, 8 in this current Serie A campaign, 4 goals and 4 assists he's had. It just feels like Grella, we're seeing the next level with him.
Yeah, every week, right? Consistency. Like the media always tries to sell these types of players, the number 10s from like Spain or Italy, like young Italian players, right? And then it's like you see a little spark and like, oh wow, that's going to be great. And like in a year's time, he's going to be awesome. This guy does it every week, and this guy's powerful. He can score on the counter with the technique, with shooting, protection of the football, doesn't risk the ball, doesn't lose it a lot. The interesting thing for me with Como is, like Nigel just says, how long can they keep Nico Paz? Not long, right? It's not a thing that's going to continue. They have massive investment in the club. They have some unbelievable people involved at the club. It's an unbelievable location of the world, right? How long can they keep Fabregas, the manager, right? Fantastic manager, by the way. If you watch Como play, you know what you're going to get. They're going to play possession. They're going to be tough to beat. They're going to be. They stick to who they are in the games, right? So can they keep those guys, or if they lose those guys, can they replace them quickly enough and at the right way, at the right caliber? Can they get another Class A manager? Can they get another Class A number 10 and keep this project going? Because it's fantastic for Italian football if they do.
I think for me, Paz, yes, players are going to be bought and sold all the time. But for me, for Fabregas, I think he's in a great place right now. Still a young manager. Yes, he was a top player, but he's still got to keep to learn his trade. And I think
it'll be hard to keep him, though. I know. I agree. I hope he stays, but I think it'll be really hard to keep him.